Hey everybody, David here from LearnChristmasLighting.com, and in this video I want to talk to you about how Christmas light pixels work. So in our last video we talked about in this playlist these pixels, these little Christmas lights, what they look like, the different types that they are, and how these are popular. And this is the most popular type. So I just talked about the end result, right? You know, you put these things on your house and they work, right? Well, it's not quite that simple, but it's also not too difficult. And so in this video, I really want to show you how this stuff works, both here on the video and also with some visuals, some graphics I'm going to put on the screen. So these pixels are pretty simple, okay? But also a little complicated. What happens when your program, whether it be X-Lights, Vixen, or some other program, sends out data to these pixels, because everyone can change color on their own, so it's data coming to these. When that information's sent, the first place it hits is a pixel controller. Now, a pixel controller like this takes in some power so it can be powered. It may also pass power out to your pixels. This one does. Some don't, and some do. And then it also passes data to your pixels. So there's really two parts. There's power going to your pixels, and there's data. Now, if you're coming straight out of a controller like this, most modern pixels are a 3-wire type. Okay? So right out of the controller, you've got 3 wires going to your pixels here. One is a negative, a DC electrical negative line. One is a DC positive line. Usually in Christmas lighting, this is 5 volts or it's 12 volts. And then in the middle, there's the data line. And these are kind of separate. So as we're working with these pixels, there's a couple things that are going to go on. A lot of times, you can power your controllers and then feed power right through your controller to your pixels. I don't mind doing this in smaller circumstances and with smaller controllers, but I don't like doing this with big controllers because it sets up a really bad single point of failure, and it puts a lot of power through your controller. If something gets loose or for some reason starts heating up, you could fry a controller, and then you're stuck. So what you can do as an alternate, what I like to do, is inject power. Now, power injection is something that I'll talk about in more videos, but it's something we need to do because oftentimes the voltage, the DC voltage, that 5 volt or 12 volt power, gets too low for the pixels to work properly. But the data can still keep going a ways, so we need to add in more power along the way. Well, we could do that at the start too. I've got a power supply here. This is a Meanwhile waterproof series 5 volt power supply. And what I can do then is think about power and data separately when I'm hooking these things together. So I can come out of this controller right here, and I could just do the data out and the power ground, just the negative wire. And then out of a power supply like this Meanwhile, it's actually hooked up controlling some of these pixels right now, I could hook up the positive 5 volt or 12 volt, depending on your pixels, make sure it matches the power supply, and also the negative. So the negative's tied between all of them, and the positive only comes from the power supply, the data only comes from the controller. So, and then that's really the basics, you know, of hooking these guys up and making them work. That's, in simple terms, how this generally works. So if you did enjoy this video, please subscribe and also check out the rest of this playlist, which is working through teaching you some of the basics of how these pixels work. If you like Learn Christmas Lighting, check out our channel for more stuff and be sure to visit us at LearnChristmasLighting.com. I'll see you there. Thanks.